Hello, LifeVantage. This is Darren Jensen coming to you again from our studios here at our global headquarters in Salt Lake City, Utah. And today we're continuing our doctor series, that something I look forward to each week. You know, really interviewing some of the incredible health professionals we have as part of our company. And this is a great time for each of you to get to know them and really for them to share some of their knowledge and expertise on our products. So it's an exciting thing, an exciting time to be on our call today. Today we have Nikki Elsing, and I'm going to read you a little bit more about her bio in just a few minutes. But let me, while everyone's jumping on, and I'm sure you'll watch this a little bit later, most of you watch it afterwards anyway, but let me show you what we're giving away today. Let me get this on screen here. I'm going to give away some of these Swish shirts. I'll probably give away quite a few of them. So if you've signed up for Indy, especially place your name and your city and state on there, and we'll get you some of these shirts. And, you know, we'll probably give several of them away. So if you have members of the family, just tell us how many you'd like, and we can send you out a few of them. Just let us know your sizes, but that's when you win. How do you win? You put down your name, your city, your state, country where applicable, and we'll do a drawing for you. All right, well, let's get started with our program today. As I mentioned before, we have Nikki Elsing, and if you don't know her, let me just cover a little bit about her. And so Nikki is a proud mother of 2 children, Liv age 13 and Preston age 11. She's a registered dietitian and LifeVantage distributor who shares her life with her better half, Mitch. Nikki has been a LifeVantage distributor for over 6 years and absolutely loves the time freedom and rewards from working with her team and alongside this company. Previously, Nikki worked with a cardiovascular hospital as an outpatient dietitian and media spokesperson. Nikki worked with a variety of patients, evaluated their supplements, specialized in cardiovascular prevention and treatment, weight loss, diabetes management, and metabolic syndrome, while doing extensive media and marketing work, developing patient materials, and writing cookbooks for the hospital. And I was mentioning to Nikki, from what I hear, the food's not very good at hospitals, so I'm glad she was trying to improve that. But she says by far LifeVantage has been the most rewarding as it extends her reach to get these amazing products in front of a nation full of people. So with that, let me just change the camera angle and welcome, Nikki. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you. Thanks, Darren, so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And I know you're a very busy person, so it's always great when we're able to have people like yourselves, medical professionals, on our broadcast so that people get to know them.
Absolutely.
Now, where do you live? What state do you live in?
Well, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and it's really cold and windy here today. Big surprise.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, up in the Dakotas during the winter is probably definitely a cold area. I think here in Utah we're pretty cold too. We have a lot of fog or an inversion, so I think we're like 23. So it's cold.
Yeah, you might even be colder than we are today, actually. So I'll let you win that one, though. I'd rather be a little warmer.
That's not one that I would like to win. I would much rather be in warm weather. Right. Well, Nikki, why don't you tell everybody, before we get into kind of the product side, tell us a little bit about your journey. So you were a registered dietitian, and but you're also a media spokesperson.
Yes.
Tell us how your journey, how you went from that to LifeVantage.
Sure, I'd love to. About 6.5 years ago, actually, I was working within that cardiovascular hospital, and I was their outpatient dietitian. And so I would see people on different outpatient appointments. They'd come in for weight management, diabetes, blood sugar management, those types of things. And the other part of my job was being able to be a media spokesperson and specialist in that regard. So I did a lot of marketing for the hospital, which was really fun. I laugh because you said, just tens of thousands of us that are closest friends. And that's what happened when I would be on TV as well. And I love doing that. So it was always a nice combination, combining both of those things to be able to, get more information out to the public and tell them a little bit more about it. But as I was working at the hospital,
we seem to have a little pause in her connection. Let's see if it reconnects. How's everybody else doing out there while we wait? Don't have really any prepared remarks. Well, hopefully everybody's having a great week. I just got back from California, San Francisco yesterday. Well, actually late last night. We were having an offsite training out there. Looks like Nikki just jumped off. Hopefully she'll be logging back in here shortly. But anyway, we had some offsite training. We're meeting with some of the top marketing people and advertising people in the country. I'd even say the world. And we're trying to figure out, how do we become the world's leader in biohacking and nutrigenomics? Interesting thing, one of the guys that was there, he represented the marketing and advertising departments at Stanford University. And he had retired from a big advertising agency. He had managed the rebrand of Harley Davidson. And he was telling us that his son had started in his agency and was a copywriter and was, doing things and moving up. And he decided to start writing movies, or screenplays for movies. And he started to name all the movies that his son had written. And I can't remember many of them, hardly any of them right now, but one of them he goes, oh yeah, he just wrote Rogue One, which I thought, wow, he just said that so nonchalantly, like, yeah, he wrote Rogue One. All right, Nikki, are you back?
I lost the connection somehow, but I'm back now.
Yeah, your voice and your movement's been a little bit off. I don't know if we just have a little bit of a delay, but we can still hear you fine.
Okay.
But, and now I can hear myself coming through. You may want to turn it on your computer. I can't hear me, so it's good. All right. So you were, well, let me just end the story really quick. So while we were waiting for you to come back, I was telling a story what happened to me yesterday in San Francisco. So anyway, he just mentioned his son just wrote Rogue One, and I thought, wow. So we had a lot of good, I would say a lot of good discussion on how LifeVantage can be the world's foremost leader in biohacking, and good things will be coming up from these conversations. So now, Nikki, back to you.
Yes.
Where we're at, you're describing us your journey towards LifeVantage. If you want to finish that up, and then we'll get into the questions.
Absolutely. So working within the hospital gave me an opportunity to hear a lot about different products, because one of my jobs, so to speak, was to evaluate supplements. And so you can imagine how many supplements I saw come across my desk and work through. So when people were coming to me with LifeVantage, I was a really big skeptic, because unfortunately, most of the time, there's no research to back any of these up. It's only because their sisters, friends, whatever, told them it's great, right? And that's not what interests me. I'm here because of our research that we have, and I'm here because of the research we continue to have and how we are so science-based. And that is something that is just unbelievable and sets us completely apart from the rest of everyone. So it's been an exciting journey, and yes, 6.5 years, here I am.
Well, congratulations. We're glad to have you for 6.5 years, and hopefully for another 60 or more years.
I agree. I agree.
Why don't you, as a registered dietitian, we named off a number of areas that you had worked in, and tell us about your experience with weight management.
Well, when we look over weight management programs and trying to choose a good one, so let's say we're evaluating one or wanting to pick one for ourselves, a big part of that is finding something that is practical so that you can blend in with everybody else. I know I really worked hard on trying to make it so people didn't feel they had to be different from everyone, meaning you can go to a restaurant and eat at the restaurant with everybody else. You're not like so concerned about that being traumatic or hard to deal with. So something that makes you like everyone else, that lets you blend in, but helps you be successful and have that be with scientific validation, where we know that it's long-term, it's safe for use, it's safe for being able to bring into your home and use and be successful in that regard. And also really looking at preserving lean muscle mass while we're trying to decrease our fat mass. And so those are kind of hard to meet. But the other thing that's really nice is we want to be able to be flexible on what type of food plan people like to follow, because as you know, nowadays people have many different opinions on what they want to be eating or not eating, and different programs out there. And I like to think of ours as being something we can use here at LifeVantage, our physique system, as something that can be used with any meal plan that people are interested. Of course, we provide one for them if they would like to use that, but it's complementary to a variety of meal plans for people. The other thing that I think that we have is looking at that partnership or a group working on your success, because it's always easier to have some other people that are doing this to get the most success out of a weight management program. And we know that for a fact, especially even with
We're not having much luck with Nikki's connection. While we're waiting for her to unfreeze here, something that she mentioned about having a weight management program, and something that allows you to blend in, something that doesn't allows you to still live life. And I was thinking about, as you know, with me, I've been on my own weight loss journey here for over a year, and at the same time, I won't say exactly who it is, but a relative of mine is also on a weight loss journey, and she's lost an incredible amount of weight, but she's using a program that what Nikki was saying is it's really not one that allows her to blend in. We went to Thanksgiving, and we're eating Thanksgiving dinner, and she had like a bowl of lettuce, and that was just kind of sad, because it's something that I would also add to what Nikki was saying. I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point here. It has to be sustainable, because if you're going to use a weight loss program, it's got to be something that you can do for your entire life. And that's what I've been looking for. What allows me to blend in? What are healthy choices that I can make in my own life and then I can maintain for a long period of time? Actually, for the rest of my life. And so that's been something not hard, but it's been an exciting journey that I've been on, finding good foods that are healthy, that are high in protein, that preserve lean muscle mass, but also don't cause me to gain weight. I know that a lot of you have probably used some of those genetic testing programs, and I did one just the other day, and I got mine back. And are you back, Nikki?
Yes, this is very frustrating to me. I don't know why I keep popping up.
Hey, so I was just telling people, and I'll finish my story on the genetic testing in a second, but I was just talking to them about what you were saying about the importance of protein, preserving lean muscle mass, and a diet that allows you to blend in. Mm-hmm. And I was telling them a story about an undisclosed relative of mine that we're both on a weight loss journey here, but she's doing one where, I was eating smaller portions at Thanksgiving, but she was having a bowl of lettuce, and she couldn't really blend in. And I thought, boy, that diet, although she's losing weight, I was looking for something that could be sustainable for a lifetime, and not something that I would lose weight and then start to yo-yo up and down.
Well, and that's a big concern, because as you know, her sitting there, she's not enjoying the holiday anyway. And what's disappointing is she's focused so much on just the food that she's forgetting about all the other as well. And it's just not as rewarding that way. So definitely something that makes a big part of it. And, you know, without that adequate protein, you're losing that lean muscle mass. And when you have more lean muscle mass, because as you know, Darren, it's important to make sure that we have a good exercise program and follow a healthy diet as well. But when we maintain that lean muscle mass or build it, we become this burning machine just sitting here. And so that helps to decrease that yo-yoing later as people are trying to do that maintenance phase. Because, you know, you talk to some people and sometimes that maintenance phase is one of the hardest part of it. And, you know, I was going to say too, with the holidays, you mentioned the Thanksgiving dinner, keeping in mind that this is such a great thing to be able to have, not only for during the holidays, but getting orders in now for the physique system, because January is right around the corner. So wanting people to have that in their hands ready to go as we go through. An important part of the physique program is that cleanse for that 4 weeks, once every 4 weeks, really busting that out and making sure that we do what we can to kind of start over is the way I look at that with the cleanse product that we have.
Okay, I was just pausing because your mouth was still moving on the camera. You're a little bit behind, so I'm like, oh, she must still be talking. But no, I can see it now. Hey, so let me ask you about the physique line. Mm-hmm. How should this be used? Because I know that I've found my way of using it. Mm-hmm. But I really don't know. I really haven't sat down. Well, I guess I do have a dietitian. I haven't went over as much with her. And I think because she's just not as familiar with our products. But you're familiar with our products. Mm-hmm. What makes our physique line unique? Mm-hmm. And then how would you recommend, maybe for the majority of people? I know that there may be some outliers that would use it differently, but how would you recommend that people use it?
Well, the things that make us unique, Darren, is that we focus on that good conversation between our gut and our brain. And there's a lot of stuff that has to happen between there, including the, hey, you know what, stop eating, you're full kind of thing. And so that's something that's really, really important. Another thing is we want to fix that belly so that we're able to digest that food and able to use it the way it's supposed to. We want to be able to decrease that fat and also increase those protein stores and have this be something that we can use long term. So how do we do it? Well, one of the things, especially if you're initially starting our physique system, is to make sure and start that cleanse and just do the cleanse for a week. That's your start over. That's your reboot. That's kind of the thing I keep having to do when I get dropped off the line here, just having to restart. And so do that cleanse for that week. And, you know, one thing when we talk about the cleanse, some people are used to having really specific things they have to do or cannot eat during that. Really trying to make sure you start with the cleanse, but then kind of take an inventory, you know, check out your pantry. How much caffeine are you using? Are you using a lot of fast food types of products or convenience foods, getting closer to nature? You know, taking a chance to clean stuff up a little bit. We don't talk about specific restrictions, but really just use that time to get an idea of how well you're doing. 2 capsules in the morning and 2 capsules at night with a nice glass of water. Great way. And it's a nice gentle cleanse for you. Oftentimes we'll notice a few things as we're going through that, but it's also, it's nice because it's looking at your urinary tract, your gallbladder, and your intestinal tract. So starting with that, and then we move into that probiotic. And a good thing to remember is, you know, it'll say take one pill 3 times a day. So 3 a day. And what I kind of like to do is I like to split up my dose, but I'm not good at the 3 times a day because I just forget, you know, we all get busy, so we forget. So what I like to do is I like to have one and one at night. Another reason is if you check out our frequently asked questions and our info sheets, the probiotics are going to be used in your body about 10 to 12 hours. And so when I have a little bit at night and some in the morning, it helps to kind of fill in my whole 24 hours during the day. And remember, with our cleanse, there's some fructooligosaccharides, which is a really long, crazy word, but that helps to feed the bacteria that you're going to be getting in your probiotics. So it's a nice complement to each other. And the way I look at the probiotic is it's like when you have your gut bacteria, you have so many parking places in there in your belly, right? And some can be bad stuff and some can be good stuff. And we want to fill those parking spots with good stuff. So there's no room for bad stuff. And that's what our probiotic is doing. It's getting in there and filling in those spots. Now, I have to tell you that one of the big reasons I have two really big reasons why I absolutely love our product. The one is that BioTrack technology. It's a patented time-released formula that gets it past that stomach acid, because we know that just a little tiny bit of stomach acid is going to wipe out those probiotics. And those are important to get past the stomach acid more into your intestine where it can do what it's supposed to do. Another thing I absolutely love is that Wellmune we have added in there, especially this time of year. I mean, people are getting really, really sick because 'tis the season for that kind of thing, right? So having something that can help to lower that respiratory illnesses and respiratory infections, lots of good research on the Wellmune as well. So it's really a great combination with our products with the probiotic. And then when you're looking at fat burner, go ahead.
Let me ask you on the ProBio. Now,
Yeah.
I must not have read the directions before, because I never saw that it said to use it 3 times a day. I always have just been taking 3 at once in the morning.
You can.
Okay.
But, and I tell people sometimes when it's nice to have it spread out though for that 10 to 12 hours, because that's how it's kind of functioning in your system. But when people are busy or they have a lot going on, I'd rather have you just take them all together than try to split it up and be perfect. I'd just rather have you get it into your system. So whatever way works for you, but kind of something to keep.
I like the idea of what you're saying. Take some in the morning and some at night. I think I may switch to that. I think that's a good idea. I hadn't thought about what you're saying of continuously keeping some in there, so I'll make that change.
And I do that with our fish oils too. Now that we have an amazing fish oil product, I split that dose up too, so I get the benefit in the 24 hours.
Now, as I've read through some of the biohacking websites and others, some sites are recommending higher doses of the omega-3s. Is it bad if I take twice as much?
No, go ahead. We had, when we were seeing people and using it more at a therapeutic level, you know, depending on your condition and depending on your health history, of course, I had other people taking a larger quantity of those fish oil capsules where it's more kind of a therapy for them instead. But so let's talk about the fat burner.
Before that, I still have a question on the cleanse.
Yeah.
Now, with the cleanse, in addition to doing the regular system, I always generally just take 1 or 2, just 1 a day. Is that bad?
I'm sticking with the on the papers. Yeah, okay. I'll stick with the recommended.
I'm experimenting on myself. I guess I'm trying to biohack. So far, no.
Well, I have heard people say that they like to do that because then you're taking a little lower of a dose and it's just kind of continuous. But you remember we have that NRF2 product as well that helps to basically detox you all the time when you're taking that during the day. So keep that in mind because I know you're taking that as well.
Well, back to the burn. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So like I said before, remember the protein's essential. We want to lose fat. And guess where people have the most fat? The majority of people that we talk to are having that central weight, that central obesity, which increases the risk of so many diseases. And that's not just like you look down and you see it hanging over your pants maybe a little bit or out the back of the side of your pants or whatever. This is that deep, nasty, visceral fat that gets really embedded into all your organs and around all that organs. And so, or those organs, I guess I should say. But it's important to get rid of that because that's really hard on your system. And we used to kind of think that fat just sat there, that belly fat, and we know that it actively seeks out trouble. And so if we can decrease the quantity of that belly fat, that's really, really important. And remember, we have 2 very well-researched products that we've added into our fat burner, and it's a non-stimulant, which is very important because that's what a lot of people are concerned about because some of these have such side effects, other fat burners or fat burning type of products, and we don't see that with ours because we don't have all the things that are concerning in there. So But the two products that are in there help to have that fat be used as your fuel source. So that's amazing. And it also helps to make sure we're preserving that lean muscle mass. Because you and I both know, Darren, that we work hard for those muscles and trying to exercise and maintain it. We don't want to be losing that as we're trying to lose weight. So the key to the fat burn is 2 and 2. So you take 2 pills with your 2 largest meals of the day. So it's twice a day, 2 pills. And what I usually do is I prefer to take it with my lunch and my supper, and I'll tell you why here in a second. But in the morning, I just put 4 in my hand, and then I stick them in my pocket, because then no matter where I am, I've got my fat burners. And it's kind of nice to be able to have that assurance, or make you feel a little bit better too. Not that it should make you feel like you can eat whatever you want, but it just helps to make sure you feel good about the fact that you're still on your program, kind of thing. But the reason why I said I don't usually have it with breakfast is because that's when I'm having my protein shake, right? Because one of the hardest things that I saw with people was breakfast. Breakfast was tough. People were skipping, or they were having coffee and toast, or they're nowadays just having a coffee because it's so packed full of other stuff that kind of a calorie dense type of item nowadays. But I noticed that a lot of people were not having a protein at breakfast. And unfortunately, people get scared away from eggs and some of those things, which they shouldn't be scared of those. But so they have a lot of carbohydrates. And if you have that weight in your middle, like more of that central weight and that central obesity, those carbohydrates and those processed carbohydrates that most breakfast foods and breakfast items are not going to help you decrease that weight. So the majority of people would do really, really well having a protein shake, making a smoothie, putting it in the blender, mixing it up with a little milk or almond milk, I know people like, or water, and a little bit of fruit, maybe like a half a cup of berries, peanut butter, whatever you like to mix. I know people kind of throw in some kale and some spinach and all that kind of jazz, and that's fine too, whatever makes you happy. But definitely starting the morning with a great physique protein shake works really, really well.
Why is protein so important?
Why is protein so important?
Well, the protein, we need that to be able to build those muscles, maintain the muscles, and it gives us a nice, consistent energy. I don't know if you've noticed, like, say, maybe sometime if you're traveling, or it's just kind of one of those crazy days and you miss either protein at lunch or protein at breakfast, you may find that an hour to an hour and a half after you eat your meal, you're hungry. And that's not good, especially if you're trying to maintain or lose weight. And so that protein helps to satisfy your hunger. And with ours, we have 2 types of protein. One's that's going to be used faster. So all of a sudden you get that in there and you feel a lot better, right? And then another one that's in there to be able to draw that out, so it maintains it and keeps you more full throughout the day. And it's nice because ours is vanilla. So back to making the shakes, remembering it's just kind of a nice neutral base. So it's not some, kind of crazy flavor, and it blends really, really well. I'm very impressed with how well it blends. And I've tried a lot of protein shakes in my life as people are coming in to talk to me about them. So definitely ours is my favorite.
I agree. Okay, could you turn me down a little bit? Now I'm echoing back again. I don't know why. But, okay, so thank you. So with the holiday season coming up, it's an important time. We're we're going to be inundated with holiday meals and Christmas dinners, and I think the average person gains a fair amount of weight during this time. Are there some tips or things that you could tell us of maybe how we could use the physique line and other good tips for us to help not get out of control during this holiday season?
Absolutely. And you're speaking to someone who just had like a bake-off last night with my daughter and the neighbor girls. So I have a kitchen full of stuff right now. And that's one of the problems, is that, the holidays aren't just 2 days out of the month. It's like the whole 31 days, right? And we're all kind of doing stuff that we were not doing before. One of the things I like to tell people is, and I think back to your gal with having the salad at Thanksgiving, what I like to think of at the holidays is, what are you most excited to have? Like, what are you looking forward to that whole year? And what is tradition and stick with that and have it, because that stuff means a lot, and that's good for you, for your heart, for your soul, for all that stuff. So make sure you do that. But also kind of survey the food and be the disher. You know, you serve your own food, so that if you're serving your food, she's going to give you really big helpings, right? Because she wants to make sure everything's fine for you. But if you're in control of it, you can decide. And then kind of look along the front and see what it is that you want, so you can plan ahead and have one plate. Don't go back for seconds. Have one. I said this one other time on a different broadcast, and so people were holding up about this for one plate. Does this work? But that's a nice way to keep in mind it, is by having that plate, and then you know, even though it tastes amazing, you can make the stuff again. And it's a compliment. People can swap recipes. You get all that information, and it's a fun kind of tradition to be able to have too. So the other thing is keep your fat burner in your pocket. Pack that in your pocket before you head out, right? And like me now, I've been doing my cleanse now to kind of get ready for all this stuff that's going on, so I can make sure I'm doing well, and take my probiotic to get my parking spots all booked up, so that I have all that good bacteria in there, and also loaded with that Wellmune. One thing I forgot to mention with that in the probiotic is that works kind of when things are not so good. So when your body needs it, it's going to be working more. And we all know that we see a lot more people, and we're shaking a lot more hands, and being in close quarters during the holidays. And so we want to stay healthy. So a great way to do that is to make sure and get that probiotic in. Another thing too is when you are getting up in the morning and heading out to your events or your parties and all of that, have that protein shake. So starting your morning on that good path will be a nice, easy way. Sometimes we say, oh, we're going to have a big lunch or supper, I'm not going to eat much. And that may be the case, but be sure you have that protein shake, so you have that nice, stable base to be able to start your day with. Trying to think if there's anything else with those that I'm missing.
I actually will take a protein shake if I know I'm going to go to a dinner. And so I don't overeat, I'll take in a protein shake, so I'm not, you know, one of the worst things I can do is go shopping when I'm starving, because I buy a ton of stuff that I probably shouldn't. And so I always, like when I'm going to these dinners, I try to eat something healthy before I go, so I'm not that hungry. And then I can really keep it to that one plate, but still enjoy the pumpkin pie or whatever.
Right. Well, and you know, sometimes you get there and there's 2 desserts that you've been dying to have. Well, dish them up and smaller, and then make that so that you get 2 little pieces of the things you like the most. I love what you said about the protein shake, because oftentimes we see it as a meal replacement, but can also be a little snack, especially, I'm assuming, Darren, that your days go long, and some of the other people on here probably have really long days as well. And so it could be something, you know, come 4:30 in the afternoon, that you have as a nice little snack, so that when you get home, you're more reasonable, or when you get to that dinner, you're more reasonable in what you're ordering and planning a meal and that kind of thing. Because sometimes if we go home hungry, just like you said, it's just kind of a free-for-all. It's hard to maintain what you want, and that's easy because the protein shake doesn't need refrigeration, and you can just have that in your desk or somewhere in your office. Nice, easy thing. All
right. Well, Nikki, unfortunately our time is up. But thank you for taking time out of your day and sharing with us these, you know, important information on physique. I mean, we're entering the weight loss season now, and guys, grab your physique, have it on hand. Have it for the beginning of the year, or start now. I don't know if starting a weight loss program is the greatest thing right before the holidays, but get it ordered and get it in, because I know I'm going on another, mine's been a continual journey, but I'm really going to get even more serious about it at the beginning of the year. So
you've done a great job, Darren.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well,
yes, absolutely.
Let me just remind everybody, we're giving away our Swish shirts, if you can see those. So if you haven't put down your name, your city, state, country where applicable, do it, and we'll do some drawings here a little bit later this week and give away some free shirts. So anyway, Nikki, if you could just stand for a few minutes, and I'll chat with you as soon as we disconnect. But I just wanted to remind everybody that tomorrow same time. I'll have on Elite Pro 7 Cassie Teal, and she'll be at 1:15 Mountain Time. So I look forward to having her on. Look forward to seeing each of you there tomorrow. So till then, we'll see you later. Bye.